and gentlemen, my name is Tony Laporta, and welcome to today's live broadcast of Mazda Road to Indy Racing here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. I'm down on one knee on the grid here with Dakota Dickerson, Mazda Scholarship winner, putting him here into the USF 2000 Series. It's his best qualifying effort of the season so far. Third place on the grid is where he'll roll off from. Dakota, good qualifying effort. What do you like so much about Mid-Ohio?
You know, it's a really technical track. I think it's one of the most technical of the season so far. It's got a lot of undulation, lots of fast corners, and a long straight. So all in all, it's just an all-around great track, and really enjoying it so far.
Yeah, it's been a great weekend down here for sure in Mid-Ohio. You guys have 3 races. This is the first of the weekend. They will run 2 more Saturday and Sunday, a triple header for the USF 2000 drivers. Talked about that Mazda scholarship. It's put you here in the USF 2000 championship. Tell the folks around the track right now why they should care about Mazda Road to Indy Racing and what's going on here this weekend.
You know, Mazda is one of the few programs in the Mazda Road to Indy that really helps out the drivers move up to the next level. And I was fortunate enough to get the Mazda scholarship to be in USF 2000. That's why you see this Mazda Soul Red vehicle right here. And I can't thank them enough for everything they've done, not only for me, but the entire series. And I'm so happy to be representing the Soul Red colors here at Mid-Ohio.
You definitely, Mazda stepping up to help all the young drivers here in USF 2000 climb the Mazda Road to Indy. USF 2000 tonight, we have Pro Mazda, the second tier on the Road to Indy, and then Indy Lights. That's the last step before you make it to the Verizon IndyCar Series. Finally, how tough is this race going to be? It's your first of 3. Do you think you can keep it on the podium and come home with the trophy today?
Yeah, we're starting on brand new Cooper tires, and I can't thank them for everything that they do. The tires are great, so should try and keep it up front, make some great passing, or we'll see how it goes, but it should be good.
All right, Dakota Dickerson, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck to you again, folks. The Soul Red, number 18 USF 2000 entry, Dakota Dickerson out of California. He starts this race in the 3rd position. Watch for him to try to make his way a little bit closer to the front. We're going to be back with more USF 2000 coverage here in just a few minutes.
Let's see what happens. Again, Martin on the inside, Thompson on the outside. Great lineup for these drivers. Perfect speed. They'll have to punch off quickly, and away we go. Green, green, green. Racing into turn number 1. Opening corner, obviously the most crucial. Everyone trying to get through cleanly. Front 3 drivers looking good right now. Very good start for both Martin, Thompson, and Dickerson. Again, that first run down into the keyhole, though, John, always very important. They'll try to make a move to the inside. You'll see them span 2, 3 wide coming into the corner. Looks like Franzoni to the inside of Dickerson coming to turn number 1. Or turn 2, they'll roll out of that downhill keyhole section, back onto the straightaway for the first time, right into the view of Rusty Bell.
Rusty, unfortunately, has microphone issues. Thank you. Great,
I was ready.
Great throw, bud. But we'll pick it up with Brian Culbertson as the leaders making their way down through the kink. They should be in Brian's view right about now.
Right now in the paddlers for second spot, Martin's able to slip away from the field. Thompson, your point leader, just barely able to hold on to second spot. The number 9 coming up, Franzoni, takes over that 3rd spot, and he was almost up to 2nd when they got down to the break zone in front of you, Tom.
They come up over 8 and 9. Martin with that lead. Then the 2 car, Thompson, and then the battle is really right now for the 3rd place position. We watch them as they go up and underneath the bridge, the pedestrian bridge, going up into turn 10, now 11. They're back to the front part of the race course with Martin leading.
Really solid run right now there for Dakota Dickerson, running 3rd behind Franzoni, just getting things settled in here. So Franzoni and Dickerson look like they're going to start battling it out here for 3rd spot. 4th is Gavin, 5th is Ricards, 6th is Lloyd, 7th is Kane, 8th Listoshka, 9th is Agron. We've lost 1 driver already. That's Robert McGinnis falling to the tail of the field. The number 20 of McGinnis, I believe, potentially getting together with Cameron Doss. Those 2 drivers, rookies in the series, and McGinnis, your point leader, now with a DNF. Here's the Rick, coming out, I think, that's turn number 9, I believe?
Yeah, right in front of Tom Michaels.
Yeah, that car apparently had a problem over in front of Brian, and now is stalled in front of us. Had it started there for a moment, but it is right there in the apex to the turn, coming into the apex to the turn. So that's going to be a problem here for the cars as they come around the waving yellow over at turn number 7.
Leaders in my view right now, Martin's still out front, the number 2 of Thompson, then the number 9 of Franzoni. Those 3 cars right now are going to be coming under that yellow flag. Martin has got out to a big lead. The home ultra safety truck coming out of the station. We're going full course yellow, guys, full course yellow. That's going to bunch it up. Martin had a big lead already, and that's going to evaporate.
So right now, that car's still sitting where it was. It's not going any place. We'll wait for the Ultra safety team to get over here. The field has made its way on by safely. So just now, as I say that, the car is backfired and underway. He's going to be able to get the car at least down into the bottom part of Thunder Valley. But if he's able to get it any further than that, he seems to be having trouble finding a gear right now.
Potential clutch issues potentially there for Robert McGinnis. He's already dropped a lap, so it's not going to help him at all. He's going to cruise, at least try to cruise up and out of Thunder Valley. The Ultra safety crew trying to follow him through, I believe. So again, trouble for McGinnis. That's the driver who was, he's actually going to come to a stop just coming up out of Thunder Valley. Not able to get all the way there, John.
Yeah, the Ultra safety truck right there with him. They'll get a tow trap attached, and it's a quick run into the pit entrance from where they are, right at the entrance to turn 11. For whatever reason, Cameron Doss did not take the start of the race. He's listed as a DNS, so I'm not quite sure what issues there might have been with Cameron's machine, but he is not in the grid for some reason.
Well, I'll tell you what this does mean. Nothing really the championship chase, but when we're talking about Rookie of the Year, there's a really good battle. But not said there's a potential battle between Dakota Dickerson and Robert McGinnis. Those two drivers still quite a ways apart on points, but Dickerson's the guy with a lot of momentum right now. He's currently running in the 4th position. McGinnis with a DNF. That would be a huge point shift when we're talking about the Rookie of the Year standings. But again, up front, not surprising, a really solid jump there for Victor Franzoni as he was able to slide through. Franzoni, remember, started a little further back. He was P5, so the inside of row number 3, essentially right behind right behind Dakota Dickerson. He was able to make a nice move, get a good run through turn 1, and tuck the car to the inside as they headed over to the keyhole. Dickerson obviously not wanting to get too aggressive to block, and a wise move for Dakota as he slots into the 4th position. But again, here's your top 10, guys, after this, as we have a full course yellow. As we said, Anthony Martin leading the way, Parker Thompson in 2nd. Those are your 2 championship contenders. Victor Franzoni now runs in the 3rd spot. Dakota Dickerson in 4th. Luke Gabb 5th. Garth Ricard's in 6th. Jordan Lloyd in 7th. 8th is Nikita Listoshkin. 9th is Jordan Kane and Isla Agron rounding out your top 10.
Safety 2 has hooked up to Robert McGinnis's car, bringing him into the pit lane. We probably won't go green this time by unless the pace car can get into the pit exit. Let's see if the lights are off on the pace car. We could conceivably get it this time by because we have a clear track. Nope, the pace car is going to stay out. We're going to have one more lap under the yellow before we get the restart. Again, this is a timed race of 30 minutes. We've got 24 and a half minutes remaining in that 30-minute time limit.
So at this point, getting a little update from our spotters and the Cameron Doss issue, of course, a non-starter. We thought maybe he was on the racetrack somewhere. Cameron actually, an incident during qualifying. So not able to get the car onto the racetrack here for Cameron Doss. I'm sure they'll go to work on it. We are going to go green next time by. But again, Cameron Doss, no starter with that issue from qualifying. So we just wanted to update our listeners and say hello to everyone listening on the Mazda Road to Indy app. If you've got that download to your mobile device or potentially listening in on USF2000.com or through the IndyCar Race Control page on their website, we are pleased that you're joining in with us here, getting live coverage, audio and video here from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and we are thrilled to be here. Rob Howden, the voice of the Mazda Road to Indy, alongside John Fippern and his fantastic crew here at Mid-Ohio. Not the start we wanted, John, but that's the start we got. It happens sometimes in the very first rung of the Mazda Road to Indy.
We had a couple laps under green, so that's all good. But, obviously a technical gremlin biting Robert McGinnis's car, and he spun it, according to Brian, down in turn 6 and was unable to get the car refired and sort of sputtered his way up to right at the apex of turn 9, which is not a good place to stall. So the stewards felt the better decision to go full course yellow so that we could get a safety truck and get him towed out of the way.
They've shown us on occasion, the race directing crew for this series, is that they're going to try to do whatever they can to keep us green. There's been times where a car has been stranded, what you would say maybe in harm's way, but not really. Yep. Once the field cycles through one time and they know the car's still there, of course, race control can say, hey, the car's going to stay there. Yep. Watch yourself coming through. We can have a held yellow. That was a tough one because he was essentially right in where you would turn into the apex of the corner. Maybe somewhere back between those two corners, he might have been able to hold on, and maybe he could have got him off into the grass, but I think it's a good call to go full course yellow.
Absolutely. So we wait for the field to come around as they are down in Thunder Valley right now. The pace car in view. The beautiful Soul Red Mazda pace car goes through turn 11, accelerates away from the field as our leader, Anthony Martin, the Australian, leading the way with a very hungry teammate right behind him.
Looking to go back to green. They'll be a single file restart. They'll work their way out of the carousel here now. You know this time Martin's going to want to get that jump. He's going to want to jump with the loud pedal as soon as they possibly can. They'll work their way out here. You got to wait for the punch-off cones. We have some cones set up. Wait to the cones, and away we go on the throttle. Great start for Dickerson. He's going to go to fourth. Dickerson to the inside of Franzoni. Dickerson times the start and beats Franzoni into turn number 1 with her side-by-side. Franzoni rolling it on the outside.
Gavin tried to go with him as they made their way through turn number 1. Let's see how they shake out as they head up toward the keyhole turn. Again, we apologize for not having Rusty Bell on the line, but we'll try to get that problem solved. 3 wide for 4th spot as they bend it through the keyhole and on their way down the back straightaway.
It was a great start for Dakota Dickerson. He had the inside going into turn 1, but to be able to hold it on the outside, Franzoni stayed in the throttle, kept Dakota pinched down to the bottom, and Franzoni able to get a bigger run. They'll go down now into turn number 4.
Again, Martin jumps out front. He's got about a 3-car advantage. Franzoni gets back to that 3rd spot. Your points leader, Thompson, hangs on to the 2nd spot. Everybody able to get through the S's the first time through. I expected Franzoni must have missed his start just a little bit because he should have been putting some pressure on Tom there in front of you.
Yeah, the battle right now for second place. Once again, Martin by his lonesome. The number 2 car is in second place with Thompson, Franzoni, Dickerson, Gavin. That's the way they run through the top 4. And then Garth Rickards is the car sitting there in the next position.
First and second place drivers in different places in the points. Remember, Martin had that issue, a DNF in Toronto in the opening race. Thompson able to put together a couple of podium finishes, so Parker Thompson has a little gap to deal with. He'll have the car he has. Right now, a second place finish here would not be the worst thing for Parker Thompson. It's the DNF that'll be trouble. Thompson's just going to want to do whatever he can to make sure that he stays out of the grasp of Franzoni, although still a pretty impressive run here for Anthony Martin to come back after what was a very difficult weekend in Toronto. They'll roll themselves through the keyhole now again. Thompson trying to hold them off because Franzoni and Dickerson's there as well. Gavin and Lloyd. So really 5 cars battling right there. As contact into the keyhole. That's, I believe, Tazio Otis going around in the keyhole. It's going to an exact... Yeah, I think that's Tazio Otis off in the JDC Motorsports car. He'll loop it back around, but again, back up front. Great run here for Anthony Martin.
Yeah, Martin turns the fast lap that time, and he is stretched out to almost a 2-second advantage over the field here. Franzoni able to close up just a little bit on Thompson, but coming at you, Tom Michaels is the leader. Martin with a big advantage.
Yeah, taking himself to a Sunday lead here on a Friday. Now everybody kind of stretching it out just a little bit. Perhaps the best battle right now is one back there for about 5th and 6th, as it would appear, as the cars make their way up into the turn 11 area.
Trouble for Dakota Dickerson. He's fallen back a couple of spots. Remember, Dakota was right there off the rear wing of Franzoni in 4th. He's fallen back to 6th position now as the 91 of Luke Gavin and the 21 of Jordan Lloyd have been able to slip by. And you have to wonder whether Dickerson might have dropped the wheel somewhere and just had his competitors pounce. I didn't see a pass anywhere, even down into where Brian or Tom is. At least we couldn't see anything on the screen. So Dickerson, who was having a good run there in 4th, now finds himself down in the 6th position. But again, Thompson better look out because Franzoni's coming. They'll work their way out of that keyhole to run down through that corner, the off-camber, turn number 2, through 3, and all the way back down to Brian.
Waiting for their field to get down here. Your leader, Martin, is the first one down here and continues to stretch out his advantage. Thompson gets a little breathing room over Franzoni. So the best battle right now is that one for 5th. The 5th place battle between the 21 and the 18. Lloyd and Dickerson going at each other through turn number 6.
Yeah, stretching out that lead even more. Martin, equidistance then, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. And then right behind the 5th place car, Dickerson on the rear wing of Lloyd as they head through Thunder Valley.
Onto the front straightaway they come as issues for Robert McGinnis's car, the 80 car. They apparently had an electrical issue. They've swapped a couple relays in that car, going to try to get him back underway, as we did see him out on track. He's lost 5 laps to the lead of the race, but obviously if he can get out there and turn some laps, he might be able to salvage some points.
Well, the bottom line for Robert is he needs the track time here. He's a rookie. Let's get him out there and get him driving, but also the opportunity to turn a fast lap. If he's able to get the car working and drops the fast lap of the race, that's where the bonus point, plus it'll help him potentially in the where he's going to start race number 2. Again, drivers working their way down the back straightaway now. Pretty solid little advantage now, as we said, for Anthony Martin as he's trying to grab another win. Already a race victor earlier in the year. He won on the road course at Indianapolis. He was able to win the Carb Night Classic at Lucas Oil Raceway. A big win for him there. And he also scored a victory, 2 wins actually, at Road America. So he's been able to put a bunch of wins up. But really it was the trouble at Toronto that kind of blew things wide open and allowed him to get to a 20-point deficit from Parker Thompson. Working their way up now out of Thunder Valley. And looking over here, and I can see that Robert McGinnis actually not that far ahead of your leader, probably about 10 to 15 seconds ahead of Martin as he rolls his way up crest the hill, coming down over to the carousel. Pretty solid run here now for Martin. Thompson settling into that second position. Very, very consistent young Canadian driver. These two guys here, first and second, battled out for Rookie of the Year honors last year, and they're having a good run at the championship this year. Franzoni, a one-car team with Arms Up Motorsports. Max Hanratty was supposed to run here this weekend. Hanratty, I do not believe, making the call here today. So, again, a one-car team for Franzoni. He was a victor, as we said, at the streets of Toronto just 2 weeks ago. A big win for Arms Up Motorsport, their first in USF 2000 competition. Watching, again, the battle for the top 6 here as Dickerson and Listoshkin 6th and 7th, now about 2.5 seconds between them. So really, this battle now coming down to the top 6 drivers here as we look to see who's going to work it onto the podium. But a great start. Martin ahead of Thompson and Franzoni.
Martin out front, but he better be watching the mirrors. Thompson clicks off 2 faster laps over the last 2 laps and has closed it down. It's about a second as they make their way through the S's. Right now, Franzoni not able to make the call, so he's falling back, but the lead is starting to evaporate, Tom. They're in front of you.
Yeah, the first 2 cars getting some distance between them and the third place car, Franzoni, right now. And one of the things, we are about halfway through this race, and eventually this group should come up on that lap traffic. Now, that lap traffic seems to be picking them up and putting them down pretty good right now, but that could become a factor before this is all over with.
Yeah, Robert McGinnis lapping in the 123, so he's not that much slower than the cars behind him. It'll be a while before they catch him if he can maintain that pace.
As you guys said, a great lap for Parker Thompson, quickest thus far. A 122.241 has dropped that lead for Martin, which was almost 2 seconds at one point, down to just over a second. So Martin a little slower, about 0.2 slower than Thompson last time by, and so Parker just going to try to whittle away. Thing about this racetrack and these race cars is, again, cars start to get lower on fuel. They get a little more nimble, but the tires are starting to get worn away as well. Mid-Ohio, notorious on tires. It's a rougher surface. The makeup of the pavement itself, a little more abrasive. So these drivers have to watch out. If they push too hard early and burn the tires up, it could be trouble.
And that could be what Anthony Martin is dealing with right now as he's finding that lead evaporating. Last time by the stripe, it was down to just over a second over Parker Thompson. Franzoni, another 1.5 seconds back. Gavin, about the same interval. I'm a little surprised at Dickerson. I'd expected more from Dakota Dickerson, having qualified so well, but after he fell back to 6th, he's just not been able to answer with any kind of challenge.
Guys being told a drive-through penalty for Sam Chastain in the number 77, I believe, for getting into the back of Tazio Otis and looping him around in turn number 2. We talked about Otis and that JDC Motorsports blue and black number 72, looping it over in the keyhole, and indeed the race director has deemed that was on Chastain in the 77, so he'll do a drive-through that'll drop him from where he was, and that was, I believe, in the 15th position. But again, settling in now for USF 2000. As you guys said, it's a 30-minute time session for these drivers, however many laps they can knock out in that 30-minute session. Watching the lead grow again, actually, guys. A fast lap for Anthony Martin as he lays down a 122.095. So as they work their way down the back straightaway here right now into the view of Brian Cuthbertson, he's going to find out that lead between Martin and Thompson has actually grown a little bit.
Yeah, Martin definitely looked in his mirrors and picked it up. He's picked up a 0.5 seconds, but under braking, Thompson fights back. These two guys are putting on a duel at the front of this field here. It's about 1.1 seconds by me here at the top of turn number 5 at Mid-Ohio. Tom, coming towards you right now. Thompson's got a lot of work to do, but he's getting closer.
Yep, he's still right about the same as we have seen him, less than a couple of seconds there, and it's not really being pressured at all by Victor Franzoni. When I've seen these cars here in past years, we've seen these cars seem to be very loose coming from turn number 9. 2 a car, to a driver. They seem to be coming through as though they are on rails right now. Much more stable than I've seen them in the past.
You know, guys, I'll tell you, I talked to a bunch of the IndyCar engineers during my little lunch break, and they all told me one thing. This track is grippy already. Almost surprising how much grip that they had here today during the Friday test day, practice day for the IndyCars. Of course, USF 2000 Pro Mazda were on track all day yesterday. They cut the track nice and cleaned off and the rubber down. And even though Cooper tire rubber doesn't actually work that well, or the Firestone rubber doesn't work that well with the Cooper rubber that we lay down, they did say that the track is unbelievably grippy today. So we're talking about these cars being on rails, not surprising. The temperature's there, the tire technology is there from Cooper, the grip is there, and these drivers having to learn where to place the car on the racetrack.
Watch the battle for fourth. It looks like Jordan Lloyd is closing down on Luke Gavin for fourth spot. He's got it down under a second.
You're right, John. He does. He's got it down to about 0.3 of a second over the top of 5. He's closing it up here. We were talking about the track. We've had just enough sunshine to warm it up, and then now just enough clouds. It hadn't got too hot here, and the track is in great shape.
Yes, they come by me once again. No challenges in any part of the racetrack that we see at this point. One thing we might mention, of course, is this part of the Mazda Road to Indy series, and people ask, does that work? All you have to do is take a look at the record holders coming into this weekend here at Mid-Ohio. The qualifying record for this series held by Matthew Brabham, the race held by Spencer Pigot, both of which made their debuts at Indy this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it, guys. We looked at the Indy 500 lineup. 22 of the 33 starters had all run in this Mazda Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. And again, this particular program just starting to bear fruit when we look at the fact that the very first class of USF 2000 featured Sage Karam, a kid that really isn't even into his mid-20s yet, just turned like 21 years of age. So again, this thing just starting to bear fruit. We're just starting to see the drivers starting to work their way into the top levels, and you know it's not happening for every driver. When you try to get there, even if you've won the Indy Lights Championship, it doesn't guarantee you a ride in the IndyCar program. You still have to put it all together, but we are developing so many great drivers with the talent they need to run at that level that when we start to get that generation shift, which is going to happen in the next 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 years with the top drivers in this program, all the drivers that are going to be in the program at that point are the guys that worked their way through this Mazda Road to Indy.
Sam Chastain has served his drive-through penalty, so he's back out on track. We're getting word that Eric Filgueras in the number 12 car, the only national driver in the field, has had to retire with second gear gone in that car. So Filgueras, the only national class driver in the field, retires with a problem in the gearbox.
Yeah, tough one for Filgueras. They're looking to put together a new program next year with the new USF 2017 car, that brand new car that will roll out next year. Filgueras is going to try to get that car rolling here now, I believe. He's down here on pit lane. Indeed, he'll roll it back out. I'm not sure if he'll just bring it back to pit lane here, or rather back to the paddock at this point, but nonetheless trouble for that black and gold Spencer Racing number 12.
Right now, the best battle on the racetrack that I see, not in the top 10, is for 11th right now. It's a good battle between the 5-car of Austin McCusker and the 23 of Yufeng Luo.
Yeah. I definitely was looking at that one, guys. Two drivers together, just 0.2 of a second apart. Again, Austin McCusker, his first year in the series in that white number 5, the Primus Racing entry, currently 11th position. And pretty good run considering the fact that he's battling with a race winner. Yufeng Luo won earlier this year in the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. So there's a second-year driver battling with a freshman, and that's what we see midway through the season. And that's really what makes Mid-Ohio so important.
And we've got a new second-place car as slowing is number 2 of Parker Thompson. He is very slow coming through turn number 9. He has been passed by 2-3 cars and about to be passed by another one here. So a new second place car is Victor Franzoni moving up.
Rob, what were you saying about Thompson not wanting a DNF? It looks like he may be headed that way.
Unbelievable. He slows coming up over the hill to the crest of the hill. That is trouble for Parker Thompson, the point leader, slowing, coming through the carousel, and he'll go to pit lane. So your point leader, Parker Thompson, the Canadian driver, who coming off a win at the streets of Toronto, that Toronto Indy event, is working his way to pit lane here right now. Some kind of an issue. That is going to put Franzoni up into second. Gavin goes to third, Lloyd fourth, and Dakota Dickerson fifth. And the championship, which I said was very much in his hand, all he needed to do was finish races, is now going to be blown wide open. Potential for a 30-plus point payday for Anthony Martin. He's only 20 back. And the way it stands right now, depending on how many guys have gone out, you're going to be looking at probably 4 or 5 points. We'll be close to a tie again going into race number 2.
And it could be a three-way tie because Franzoni is going to be able to close up as well, as he's running in that second spot right now. So Franzoni and Martin are both going to make up some ground. Right. Parker Thompson could find himself in third spot by the end of the day.
That's tough for sure. I don't think Franzoni's going to have quite enough points, but again, it'll be around 25 or 27 points for him. Second place, I believe, worth around 26 or 27 points indeed. So that would have put Franzoni just over 250 points. He could be in a tie. Very close. Unbelievable here in this particular race today.
Dicey moments, the 5 and the 23. McClusker and the 23 of Lou has come together here at the top of 5, but both cars were able to continue. We almost rolled one here at the top of 5.
That's the battle we were talking about for 11th spot, and Isla Agron is right there in the thick of that battle now as well, as those two beating on each other has given her the opening to perhaps move up into the top 10.
Yeah, Austin McCusker able to get by Yufeng Liu, and they go back and forth as they are. In fact, Agron able to slip by. So Isla Agron now gets by. Big shakeup in that good battle there. It could be a potential problem for McCusker. He just rolls by right now. McCusker just now by start finish. Yufeng Luo is dropping, guys. I don't know if you see him on the racetrack anywhere, but Yufeng Luo appears to be out.
Yeah, Brian said he came together with McCusker, so it could be some damage on the car.
Right now we've got a standing yellow here in turn number 9. Cannot see from my position down in the Thunder Valley exactly what the situation is there, but I would imagine that we've got a car, well, we probably have the white out if the car would just sit there. But from this position, no passing right now coming into turn number 9.
Yeah, Yufeng Luo, guys, just as they're coming up the hill out of Thunder Valley to driver left against the Armco barrier, so he's off. Not really an area to really worry about right now. We'll see if we're going to go full course yellow or not, but the yellow being thrown in that corner, as you said, Tom. We'll see what happens here. Looks like around 5.5 minutes remaining in this race, I believe. Martin, your leader. Franzoni second. Gavin third. Championship blown wide open again, just like it was on Saturday in Toronto. Jordan Lloyd in fourth. Top rookie right now is Dakota Dickerson in fifth. Listoshkin sixth. Ricard's seventh. Jordan Kane eighth. Lucas Cole ninth. And Isla Agron up into the top 10. And as we talked about, John, at the top of this broadcast, anything can happen in racing. McGinnis with a pretty solid lead over Dickerson in the Rookie of the Year standings. That's blown wide open because right now Dickerson 5th, McGinnis 20th. And then we came in here thinking Parker Thompson was going to be able to chill out and just be able to kind of run a good race to hold on to his point lead. But as we go full course yellow, he's off the racetrack and Anthony Martin's leading. So both the Rookie of the Year and the overall championship blown wide open.
And that's going to be the end of it because with only 4.5 minutes left, even if they got the green this time by, they wouldn't have time to get restarted. Just as the battle was brewing for third spot, as Jordan Lloyd was closing in on the back of Luke Gavin. They were nose to tail coming down the back straightaway just before that full course yellow came out. So it looked like Jordan Lloyd might be looking to get himself up on the podium, but it may not be, as this full course yellow may well bring this race to an end.
Yeah, that car that they're going to have to deal with right now, it's right now that Hawk Bridge is right between me and where it is, but they've got the safety truck there, and it's going to be very, very tough with less than 4 minutes to go here to be able to get back to green, but we've seen stranger things.
Anthony Martin's done exactly what he needed to do. He's got the fast lap time. That gives him the points there, and looks like he has got this win. If we continue into this full course yellow, looks like the clock's going to run out, and Anthony Martin has just, done everything he can for the points lead.
Yeah, very impressive, guys, to see what's happening right now. 274 points for Thompson, I believe, if we stand as we stand. 283, I think, by my calculations, for Anthony Martin. So he will take I believe, a 9-point advantage rolling into this one. And then again, it brings Franzoni in as well. Franzoni's going to be only 19 points away from Thompson. So Victor Franzoni not done in the championship yet either. Unbelievable the way things kind of turned around here a little bit today. Again, as we're watching these points change. Again, John, we talked about it. You never know what's going to happen in these events. You simply just don't know. All it takes is one little minor miscue, whether it's on the driver's side, whether it's the mechanical side, it blows everything wide open.
And we've got 2 more races to go this weekend, so we're far from settling anything here. We're just setting the table for what should be a grand finale for this season. With 2 more races here and then the finale at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, it is still very much anybody's ball game. If anything, this problem for Parker Thompson has drawn the whole front of the field closer together, and where it was starting to look like Thompson had a bit of a cushion, that cushion has evaporated, and he's probably going to end up in 3rd spot.
He's going to actually be second. When it's all said and done, if we end up how we end here. Now, granted, we have 2.5 minutes remaining. I know if they can get this thing going for one more flying lap, that our race director, Scott Elkins, will try it. So if they can get that car drug up here, they may be able to go around one more time. We're going to find out. But again, it will be 283 points for Anthony Martin, 274 for Parker Thompson. So it's a 9-point lead now for Martin after this race. It was a 20-point lead coming in. And then Victor Franzoni goes up now to 253 points. He's only 30 points out. That's a race win. That's all it takes is those 2 Cape cars to be out. White flag being thrown here, folks, with the yellow. John, we're not going to see a green flag finish.
Oh, darn. I was hoping for a green-white checker, but not to be today. But, hey, we got 2 more times with these guys, so we'll have a chance as the safety truck just now coming into pit lane as getting Yufeng Lao restarted. And so tough break for him. He's going to finish in the 18th spot. But barring any catastrophe on this final lap behind the pace car, Anthony Martin looks to take over the points lead.
Wild to look at the finish here, too, guys. If you look at the points, 3 of the top 7 drivers in points DNFing today. That's a big shift to the championship. As we said, Parker Thompson, P1, he'll drop down to 3rd, as well as Robert McGinnis in 7th. He's going to drop a little bit. And again, Yufeng Luo in 6th. All these drivers finishing outside the top 15. So definitely going to shake things up a little bit here in the points. Looking at the Rookie of the Year standings as well, let's have a look. 165 points for Robert McGinnis, 122 points for Dakota Dickerson. So he now closes it up to 43 points now. Still over 1 race, but 43 points now between Dickerson and McGinnis in the Rookie of the Year Championship. 2 great young drivers with great futures in front of them here in the Mazda Road to Indy, and it'll be exciting to see what they're able to do. But again, this one's going to come down, guys, to a win for Anthony Martin. And considering what happened to Anthony, John, in Toronto, where he wrecked on Friday and hurt his hand, wrecked in the race midway through the race while running 2nd, and handed the point lead over to to Parker Thompson, fights back with that essentially broken bone in his hand to finish 2nd on a bumpy street circuit, and then comes here and wins the opening race of the triple header. That's why this race here at Mid-Ohio, this is where things turn. This is the turning point of the season.
Anthony Martin keeps on winning them here at Mid-Ohio. Race number 1 belongs to the Australian. Tell me about that race number 1.
Yeah, the race was very long. We had a early safety car after I pulled a quick gap, but I was lucky enough to pull that gap again just after the safety car, and I was able to just stretch it a little bit to I think it was about 1.5 second lead. So to be able to do that early on was great, and that's what gave me, a sort of safety bit. Unfortunately for Parker, he had a bit of a problem. I'm not sure what it was, but we'll find out. And, he had to come in and get something changed, and he went back out. But the race for me, the championship's just changed. And, I'm right back on it. And I don't know where I am in the championship, but I'm right there. So to be able to, the championship's what I'm looking at right now. And to be able to win a race, especially at Mid-Ohio, is just a big thing for me. But more importantly, the championship, which is what I'm going for.
And you said it already, the DNF in Toronto really hurt you. Parker's misfortune turns things around for you. What does this do to your hopes of a championship? Can you contend with Parker the rest of the way through here at Mid-Ohio and into Laguna Seca?
Yeah, for sure. I've had really good pace in the last 2 or 3 races, so I think that's given me great confidence. And I think, the Cape Boys have given me a great car. And I just think, going with that confidence and the pace that I've got this weekend, hopefully I can continue that in the next 2 races and move on to Laguna.
Anthony Martin, winner here, race 1 of USF 2000 at Mid-Ohio. Congratulations.
Thanks, mate.